Welcome to Night Vision Radio with your host, René Barnett. Real people, real stories firsthand. Life as we know it, seen through different eyes. From conversations with those who claim up close and personal experiences with the unknown. Your host, René Barnett.
Good evening, everybody, and good morning, wherever you are. I know that we have a lot of listeners tonight that are anxious to hear tonight's program. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Victoria Gross, who was our scheduled guest for tonight, and she graciously agreed to come on at a later time. She is an author and a psychic, and her new book, Ghosts of Orange County, is out. If anybody that's interested should pick it up, because she will be on a show in the very, very near future. But tonight we have a very different show planned. It's one I didn't really ever expect to be doing. As many of you know, but I'll give you a brief background for those of you who may not know. A few years ago, following about 25 years of research into the so-called Rennes-le-Château mystery, Rennes-le-Château, France, I was involved. My company produced a documentary called Bloodline. Our documentary was an investigation into sort of the ideas behind the Da Vinci Code that Dan Brown set out at the very beginning of the book, that it was a fact that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married. It was a fact that they had children creating a royal bloodline. And that was a fact that there was a secret society called the Priory of Zion, which was set up to sort of protect this knowledge. And so we set out to find out, if we could, whether there was any truth to any of this or not, and what new evidence that we might be able to turn up. So in the course of the production of that, during my research, I came across a website online called the Tome, theTomeman.com, and it was put up by a gentleman calling himself Ben Hammott, which is an anagram for the Tomb Man, and claiming that he had found a tomb in southwest France in the region of Rennes-le-Château, bearing a body and some artifacts. The body was covered with a shroud with a red cross on it, and there were artifacts sort of strewn around the floor and placed around in chests and things like that in the cave. We hooked up with Ben Hammott, and we sent our Parisian producer, Edward Flaherty, down to sort of follow him around and check out things. And they began to find more things, more artifacts, messages in bottles buried in the countryside, which ultimately led to a chest containing first century Jerusalemite artifacts, as well as a tiny parchment that had dated to the year the mid 1400s, which was the precise time that a priest by the name of Abbe Bigu was in that region, and it was purportedly written by him. So we were just flabbergasted, astounded, amazed, and excited as we went forward with the documentary. The documentary ended with the filming of the tomb, which hadn't really been done before in a real professional way, and it's very difficult to film because there was just a small hole to get a camera down. So we filmed it as best we could, and we showed that in the film Bloodline. Well, the film was released in May of 2008, and while it wasn't a huge film, it did have a big effect for a lot of people. And my then business partner, and I traveled around and screened the film in various cities, and we saw the reactions that people had to the film, and sort of the excitement that they felt about it and the hope that they felt about it. So that brings us up to date today. And this past Sunday, I received an email from Ben Hammott, who admitted and confessed that he had indeed hoaxed all the artifacts and the tomb and everything in it. And of course, I was, stunned and kind of sickened by it. But actually, kind of glad that, finally the truth came out. Since a few months back, maybe last fall, I'd begun to have some doubts myself, and as had a couple of other really close associates, and we were, conspiring to pressure Ben to reveal that tomb once and for all, because in my mind, there was no more reason not to expose it except that there was something wrong with it. So, unbelievably and amazingly, Ben Hammott has agreed to come on the show tonight, and I don't know what he's going to say. He's going to explain himself. And I have questions that I've been collecting from many of you from around the world that I'll put as many of them to Ben as I can while he's here, but we have a very limited amount of time. I've already used up 5 minutes just gassing on, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for anyone who might not be familiar with the story. So with that, Ben Hammott, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi. Now, I know that your name is really Bill Wilkinson, and everybody knows that now, but,
Yep.
We all got used to calling you Ben, so I'm just going to go ahead because otherwise I'll probably screw it up about 15 times. But first of all, before I start asking you questions, Ben, is there something that you wanted to say? What do you have to say for yourself?
I just want to say that sorry for everyone for the deceit and the lies, and I shouldn't have carried it on as long as I should, and I shouldn't even have done it in the first place. But I've been guilt-ridden for the past year. It's really come to a head and all that, and I've tried to say it. I've even written you an email and Sandy and everything before, but I just didn't have the guts to send it. So I'm just glad it's all out now and everybody knows the truth, and I am really, really sorry.
Well, you know what, with that, as I explained to you, Ben, I talked with you briefly on Skype today, and as I've mentioned on my Facebook page and other places, I'm going to get these answers from you tonight, just along with everybody else. I haven't heard any of this. And as you and I talked today briefly, just to reconfirm this meeting or this show tonight, this interview, I said I don't want to talk about what you did, how you did it, or why you did it. I'll ask you everything that I'm going to ask you on the air tonight. So with that, maybe we can get to a couple of questions.
Yep.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. First of all, let's see. Let me see. I'm going to go to. Well, actually, this is from Gloria Gloria in Connecticut. Gloria Amendola, who you know well.
Yes.
She said, "How did Ben hoax the glass alabaster prototype vial, properly dated with a vellum parchment in it, properly dated to the time frame of Abbey Bigu, and supposedly an exact fit to the baluster taken from the Church of Mary Magdalene in Rennes-le-Château that Antoine Captier and his wife Claire now possess?" Now, I know the first part of that answer is those things like that vial and things like the pottery cup and the unguentarium, you can purchase those items in the antiquities market. But the real question is, how did you do that vellum parchment so that it dated to the right time?
I just bought a piece of existing vellum parchment off the internet which had writing on it, and I bought a piece which had a spare bit at the bottom big enough for what I needed. So I just bought the whole thing, cut off what I needed, wrote the message on it, and put it in the glass vial, and that was it.
Maybe I'm not remembering, because I do remember distinctly that on the bottle notes that were purportedly written by Sonia in the late 1800s or early 1900s, I do remember distinctly that we had those carbon dated. Carbon dated by Oxford Lab, both the paper and the ink. So
that's right.
But now I'm questioning myself. We did not date the ink on the vellum parchment. Just the parchment.
It was just the parchment, yeah.
Oh,
But the ink would have dated anyway, because I got hold of some old ink, and I got some hold of some Victorian ink, or that would date to the time of Sonia. I think it was before Victorian. But I found a bloke in Paris who sold a lot of old ink bottles, and I contacted him to see if there was any sealed ones with ink in. And he said, well, I have one dating to the late 1800s, early 1900s, but it's red, which explains why the writing is in red. So I bought that one, and he had a little bit of black. He said it's very old, but he didn't know how old, and it had gone a bit dry. But he said it should be all right to do a little bit of writing with, so I bought that as well.
Now, that explains the bottle notes, but because we did have those dated, both the paper and the ink, which did date properly. But the vellum parchment, the piece, the sample that you extracted from that little parchment did not have ink on it. It didn't. No. Okay, so that explains that. But the alabaster vial, that's something you were probably able to purchase on the antiquities market, or is that correct?
Yeah, what I did, from my research, I knew how big the compartment would be in the banister. So with that, the size in mind, I searched the internet till I found one for the size that I needed, and I just purchased it.
But, Gloria pointed out something really, really keen in there, and that is when you went to Antoine and Claire's house,
yes,
and they did still own that baluster that came out of the church in which the parchment was originally found, or there was a story that a parchment had been found there. That vial fit exactly in that baluster slot. Normally, because we didn't know that it was a small slot. How did it work? Was that just serendipity, or?
No, I saw it. I searched the web, and I think it was Andre Duzet described the size on his website. I think it was him. It might have been someone else, but I'm sure it was Andre Duzet. So I knew the size of the hole that I needed to fill, for the vial. It couldn't be bigger than that, and that's what I did.
Right. Ooh, all right, well, let's get to the next question. This question comes from Jazz Spalick in Sydney, Australia, and he says, where did he really go that night when he was apparently getting the tomb footage? I would love to know that myself.
I just went into the woods and waited appropriate time and then come back with the footage.
Okay, but when did you do the footage?
I did go and film a bit of the footage because the uncovering, that sort of thing. So I went, done a little bit of filming, and then come back. I'd actually pre-filmed it. I think it was a week before we were due to go out there. I went out there. And,
so you filmed the whole thing previously. You didn't film anything that night.
No.
Yeah,
but
because
I
was going to say you wouldn't have had time to edit it because you took that clamshell recorder back immediately and you guys looked at it.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
but I had to make up a shaft to put the new camera down to match the footage. So I had to make a shaft in England, take it with me to France up into the mountains, put it in the cave so it all matched, bury it, and then I had the camera going down this shaft which I just put in this cave, so it matched, so you could see the outside rocks and everything. So I knew Bruce could go and check, if we needed to prove that it was that cave. So I had to take this huge shaft to carry it up this mountain. It weighed a ton.
Where is the tomb that you shot? I mean, where is that stuff? And where is all that?
It's all destroyed. It's all gone.
Where was it?
The full size cave for your last footage in your film?
Yes, the one with the marble plinth.
That was in England in a warehouse. It was a big full size set. It was huge, and everything. Because the original one. Where did you get
the money to do that?
It cost me. I think it cost me £900 to do. Because I'd done most of it myself. I just had to. I had to buy a skeleton, obviously, and bits and pieces. And I had to, because the first ones were a little model, I had to make up everything in full size. So I had to copy it, build it out of wood, paint it and everything, put it in place, and then I had to make the book as well, the old book. I had to make that as well. And I just had to make all this and I put it all together.
Wow. I mean, because I've been, I'm not going to get into my personal feelings. I said I'm going to connect it. I just have to say one thing. I mean, that book, I've agonized over that book for so many years now, because to me, whatever written documents might have been in there were much more intriguing than whoever that body was, because I never thought it was Mary Magdalene, and nor did I ever say that it was. But the thing is, was that a real marble slab?
No, it was wood painted.
I just figured that out like yesterday, because somebody says, what about the marble slab? And I thought, I wonder if it really was. It could have been painted to look that way.
Yeah, I just painted it.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, so what about the body? Where did you get it, and who was it? And was it real?
It wasn't real. It was a plastic skeleton which I bought off of eBay for £99. And I put this fluid on it, which goes like rubber, latex fluid, to make it look like skin and everything. And I filed the teeth down to give the teeth some age and blackened them. And then put a wig on it. And
I mean, I'm not going to name the professors now because, I'm not going to out them. But I had that looked at by professional anthropologists who specialize in tomb excavations, and I remember I took it out to one major university here in Southern California, and I remember distinctly the woman says, well, I can tell you one thing, this is a real body, because that was one of my questions, is this real or is it fake? Oh my goodness gracious. All right.
And it was a female skeleton as well, by the way.
And that's what she said, that she thought it was a female, and then of course we had that forensic artist do the recreation, and to her it all looked real, and she's worked with many bodies and skeletons. All right, I have a question from Sandra Hamlet.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
She says, let's see, how on earth did he think up French messages with Latin underneath mentioning a quadrivium?
I was just doing, but everything I did, I researched. I didn't just write anything on these messages. I wanted it to keep within the theme of René Chateau and what could possibly be there. And I was doing some research, and there was this Latin document, and it mentioned this quiver. I can't even say the word, and it mentioned that word, and I thought, oh, that would be good. And quiverium means 4 or something, and it would all go in with a 4 sign. And so I just added that in.
For those of you who might be listening to the show for the first time tonight, I want to invite you to the live chat room that we have going during every show. And that chat room is located at nightvisionproductions.com. Just go to the right-hand side of the page about halfway down and click on chat room and join us. You don't have to register or anything like that. It's very quick and easy. And then if you have a question or comment, plus there's a lot of discussion going on right now in there. You might want to join in that. And if you have a question that I'm able to work in, I absolutely will. All right, let's get on to other questions. We've already answered that. Where did you obtain the body and the other artifacts that were in the... Oh, yeah, what about those other artifacts? The chests with the chalices and the scrolls. Were those just things that you just picked up here and there? And
no, I just made them.
I mean, pardon me, but it's difficult for me to think that one guy, could have done all this. I just don't see how it could have happened. On the forums of late, I've been seeing, mention of that you had hooked up with some prop master.
No, there was a bloke who was a prop master, and he helped me construct, because I couldn't do it, it was too big. He helped me to construct the walls of the full size cave. But I couldn't afford to do any more. That was all I could afford. So I'd done everything else myself. But he didn't know what it was for. He didn't know. I just said, I'm making a film and I needed this tomb to film as part of the film.
So
that's what I told him.
So you put all this together in the UK.
Yes.
And shot it. And and that was that in 97 or 99, or when was that?
It started off in, around 97, 99, that sort of, I can't remember exactly. It was after my first visit to Rennes, because all the clues, the solving of the clues to lead to the cave, everything that was exactly how it is. But when I got to the cave and found it empty, there was this hole in the floor, and I thought, I just didn't think anything of it back, because I was making a stop animation film, stop motion, where you film a figure with one frame, then you move it.
Yes.
Then I was making a film like that, and it had this this cavern in there, and I got home and I was carrying on with that, and I'd just been reading about, I think it was Andrew Doozy on the web, and said he'd found the tomb of Jesus or something, I can't really remember, but he wouldn't release any pictures, and everyone was saying was fake. And I thought, if he can do it, why can't I? Maybe it'll jog him to release some pictures if it's there or something. And that's how it all started. And I used the existing set that I had, I just changed it and added a few little props which I'd bought from car boot sale and that. I mean, it was a little tiny skeleton and everything. And I just put it all together, filmed it. And then when I went back with my brother, I pretended the camera had fallen down this hole, and we'd filmed a tomb, but he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know yet, because I haven't been able to get hold of him.
Christy from Connecticut says, why so many visits? If there really wasn't anything there, why have you been there 60 times?
Because I thought, when I realised it was just getting all out of hand, I thought if I could actually find something real, because I do believe that there is a secret there, something amazing to be found in the landscape there. I thought if I could find that, it would justify, I could actually release something real, and maybe what I'd made up wouldn't be so bad because I'd found something real, and that's what I was looking for and still am looking for.
So I'm assuming that, your reticence, obviously now I know to reveal the tomb, I know why it is now, but you kept putting it off, and you were like hoping that you would come up with something really real, and then, that would sort of, the tomb would just go away, yeah. or what did you think would ultimately happen?
Well, when I revealed that it was a hoax, or if I found something real?
If you found something real, I mean, did you think that everybody was just going to forget about the tomb, or I mean, what did you think? No,
I would tell. I mean, always knew that it would come out eventually. Always knew that I would have to say something at one time, because how many excuses can I use not to go, take you to the tomb and things like that? I knew it was going to come up. So I knew something would have to happen. This is why I was trying to find something real. But if I'd found like a real tomb with a real body in it, and I say, look, the last one was just made up, but it doesn't matter because we found this real one now, surely that would have been better than the situation we are in now with nothing.
Yeah, we have one person in the chat room wants to know, Kathy in the chat room says, why put René in the situation of going to the DRAC? For those of you who may not know, the DRAC is the agency of the French government that's over archaeological finds and in cultural matters. The head of the DRAC, who I visited with, a couple of different heads of the DRAC on different occasions, report directly, as I'm told, to the president of France. So, Kathy, I'd like to know why you did that.
Because one of the reasons was because Bruce had falsely accused me of going to France and digging up this tomb, which him and an American person had been digging up, and he'd written to the DRAC and told them that it was me doing it, and the DRAC had notified the local police of the site and the area, and if I was seen in the area I was going to be arrested. It was something like that. And because I couldn't stop you from going, because I couldn't tell you it was a hoax, because you would have known everything, you know.
You could have.
I could have, and I should have. I know.
It was a choice all the way, all the way down the line.
Yes, it was.
You just continue to make, because many people, everywhere you go, or everywhere that you went, people were asking, when are you going to excavate? When are you going to excavate the tomb? So it had to be consciously, answering that question all the way down the line. But, a lot of people are suggesting that either somebody got to you and that's why you've confessed this and the tomb is still real and everything is still real, or that somebody's paid you off and, you're sitting there on a big load of cash and getting ready to buy a big house in a rentless chateau.
No, it couldn't be further from the truth. I've got no money. No one's given me any money for anything, and nobody has paid me off. It's completely me. I just decided that it was the right time to do it, and I put steps in motion, and Andrew Goff was sort of a willing pawn in this, an unknowingly willing pawn in this, to start the release of the information so that it would make it easier for me, because I didn't have the guts to do it without some prompting, for me to make my confession public.
But wouldn't it have been better if you really wanted to confess, and as you said, you sort of drafted that confession a couple of years ago, wouldn't you have rather come out on your own than to be forced out? Because now people say the only reason, or some people say, the ones that think that you haven't been threatened or paid off, say that the only reason that you're coming clean now is because you were forced out, which I guess is true.
Yeah, I can see why they're saying that, but if this hadn't happened with the Andy Goff thing, it would have happened eventually. It's just because he was fed certain information to make public, because I'd even written an article for my website saying how I explained how I'd done it and my confession and all that. I'd done that about a year ago, but I just couldn't. I didn't have the guts. It become such a big part of my life. I was just living this lie, and I just didn't know how to get out of it. And if I'd actually posted the article, it would have all been over. And I just didn't have the guts. I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. I just didn't have the guts. That's it. And I don't know why I have now, but.
Well,
it was just the right time to come out.
You didn't really now. You got forced out. Otherwise, I
instigated all this.
Know.
This all started weeks ago. I fed someone information who fed it to Andy, who fed it to his website. I started this weeks ago, and I thought it would come out quicker than this, but it's taken longer than I thought it would. I thought it would all happen immediately, but it didn't. Obviously, they were collecting more information.
Well, that's even stranger, because, if you did decide several weeks ago, why in the world would you choose the Arcadia Forum to come out? Why wouldn't you just tell me or someone else that was in your camp and sort of like give us the first chance to break it out?
I just couldn't. I just didn't have the guts. I just couldn't blurt it out. I wanted some sort of cushion in between my confession and telling you. I wanted something so that you would get a rise of it. You'd say, "What's all this? Where's all this coming from?" It sort of breaks it. It's not like a sudden thing. You must have heard the rumours and that were all going about, and that sort of cushioned it for me. It wasn't such a big blow. That's what I was hoping.
Sure.
Already,
Well, somebody on the website is asking about the Sonia spell book that you pulled. Is that that's off the site, right?
There's still something on there, yeah. But that was found around the shop. That's a genuine piece of.
Well, I know that's a genuine piece because I'd been after that book myself for a number of years, and in fact, I think I was with you the first time you saw it. At someone's home, and then unfortunately the lady became mentally incapacitated, and someone went into her house and gave away all her belongings, and that's how you ended up with it. But that is real, or at least as real as we know it. It was found in the manor house in Rennes-le-Château by someone number of years ago, and it does purport to be it's all in Arabic, and it does purport to be some kind of a book of spells. Was told that it was a book summoning demons and so on, and so forth. So so that is still, copies of that is still for sale on your website?
No, it's not for sale. I'm just doing an article about it now.
Right. Yeah, I know that you got some stuff from Sandy Hamlet about having that book.
Yeah.
And so she told me that you were going to take it down, and I had assumed that you did.
Yeah, I took the for sale down, but left a bit of information about it up there.
Right. Now, what do you plan? I mean, how do you plan to redeem yourself, and how do you plan to? What are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm still going to go to Ren, probably a bit more incognito now, if that's possible. But I'm still going to be looking to see if we can find Sonia's secret, for the lack of a better word. But I definitely think there's something in the landscape to find, whether it's this network of tunnels which is going to lead to this fabled temple, or what. I don't think there's going to be a hoard of treasure, but I think there's something still there to be found, and hopefully we will find it.
Right, we've got some savvy people on the chat room, and someone's asking about the Gerard Tome parchments. Are these fake too? I don't know if you can answer that, because you wouldn't have had anything to do with that. You know, we filmed those parchments in Bloodline, and they've been called fakes by people, but we've got no way of knowing. It could be that they were copies of something original, but we really don't know. And of course, everything is suspect at this point.
Yeah, I mean, some of them may be real or based on genuine ones, and others might be made up. I just don't know.
Right, and Paul Karen is asking if you would even be allowed in Rennes Chateau anymore.
Well, I'm actually Skyping from the car park at the minute, so I think they're not stopping me from coming in.
Wow. And have you run into anyone there?
No, it's deserted at the minute.
So you must be staying somewhere nearby. Gosh, why are you there right now?
I thought it would be appropriate to do it from here. The confession and everything, this making it all public.
I'm not sure I quite understand that, but I don't understand a lot of things. So, oh my goodness, I'm just. Are you surprised at all that you were able to carry this on for so long? I mean, obviously there were people all along that said it was all crap and it wasn't real, but nobody really knew. So, I mean, how did you think this was all going to end when you started it?
I have no idea. No idea. It just started off, with the Tome, and it just sort of escalated and snowballed when I got involved with the Bloodline film, and it just became part of my life. And even that sometimes I believed it was real, and I'd get excited about it, and then I'd remember it wasn't. And I don't know where it was going to end, but I knew that I would have to tell certain people like you and Sandy at one time, the truth. But I didn't know where it was going to lead, what was going to happen.
Yeah, and I would like to make it perfectly clear. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it, but what I really want to make perfectly clear is that Sandy Hammott had nothing to do with any of this, and she's, suffering in this because she feels like she, stood up for all this and stood up for you, Ben, and then.
Yeah, Sandy's been a very good friend to me, and she has stuck up to me, and when people were attacking me. But she had nothing to do. She had no idea that it was not kosher, the Tome or the Parchment or something. She had nothing to do with it, nor did Bill Kersey. It was me all the way through. Nobody else knew except me.
I mean, how could you keep a secret like that to yourself? I mean, I'm pretty good at keeping secrets when I have to, but it's like usually there's like one person or two people that know, how could you, didn't you ever want to just tell someone?
Yeah, quite a few times. I mean, I nearly told Sandy quite a few times. I nearly told Pat quite a few times, but I just never did. I just kept living the lie and carrying on and just see where it would go.
Yeah, someone in the chat room is asking if Rat Scabies was in on any of it.
No, not at all. No, it's just me and no one else.
Are you hearing from people that are, among our friends and colleagues in the Rennes Chateau researcher groups, like Rat and and Bill Kersey and, Tim Wallace Murphy and other people that we know. Are you hearing from people directly?
Bill Kersey emailed me, yeah, but not really. I've had a lot of emails, obviously, but not from any of those people that you mentioned, no.
And I mean, so most of the emails that you're getting are really from people that don't really know you that well.
They're people who have maybe purchased my book or I've met out in Rennes. There's a few people that I know, but I won't mention their names, that have met me a couple of times or once. Yeah. But mostly are people that don't know me, yeah. Right.
I found it really interesting, and I'm sure it's maddening for some people, that, people seem to be either, as I said, trying to make some excuse for either that you really didn't do that, that you're being pressured, you're being threatened, that sort of thing. And other people that just say, oh, well, thank you for your honesty and all that, and oh, gosh, and, they're like getting upset at people that are getting upset with you, and I guess, those of us that were on the inside are kind of a mind that, well, these people haven't been on this ride for all these years. And, I mean, there's a lot of people that, invested in the film, the Bloodline film that lost a lot of money. There's people that have been, spending their savings to come down there and try to join in on the search for the tomb and the artifacts and all that. And people that have offered their help with your help with research and really and then the other thing is as a filmmaker and a television producer, we have this thing that we call going native, and that is when you make the mistake of becoming part of the story and identifying with people in your story. And so I absolutely admit that I went native completely and became very much involved. And there were a lot of people like that, So I guess what I would say, to those people that are saying, oh, my goodness, thank you for your honesty, Ben. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, But I guess I would say, you have to sort of walk in our shoes for a while. This has sort of sent a lot of us reeling, and we're just, coming to terms with it. Because as I told you earlier, Ben, on Skype, that, this is, it's like I have to like replay this stuff in my head over and over again about, oh, we did this, and then we did that, and then this happened, and then that happened. And all of it was just fake, and all of it was a lie, and oh my goodness, So I've been sort of going up and down with my emotions, as I imagine a lot of people have. So what would you say to the people that are posting on Facebook, the forums, and other places, the people that are really defending you?
What would I say to them? Well, apart from thank you, I'd say, I don't really deserve it. I did deceive a lot of people, a lot of good people, and a lot of friends. And as you say, a lot of people maybe not invested in me directly, but they invested in the film. And that, I just say that I don't really deserve any support like that. I'm glad of it, and I'm surprised, but you've got to remember what I've done. I've hoaxed this thing for, 10, 12 years now. I've been carrying this lie and pushing this lie, and I shouldn't have done it.
Wow. And I guess, people are saying, even in the forum, even in the chat room here, that, oh, well, it was horrible of him, but I will say it took guts to come clean after all this time. And people are, expressing concern about your, current state in, that you might be getting depressed and maybe, might think of doing some harm to yourself. What do you say to that?
No, I won't harm myself. I had the guts to post the, send an email a year ago or whatever. I'm not going to have the guts to do myself away. I'll ride this through. I'm not going to run away from it. As I said to you, I'm going to face the music. I'm going to take what comes, and hopefully I can pick up my life afterwards, if that's what fate has in store for me, and I'd go on from there.
Yeah. Now you, in during the course of Bloodline, I think you'd already met the German cavers, Pat and Ronnie and Andrea, and they helped you, get into tiny places where you couldn't descend and that sort of thing. And what part did they play, if any? And go ahead first, answer that question, and then I'll ask my next one.
Yeah, Pat. How I met Pat was he emailed me, and he thought first of all the tomb and the bottles and that were too far fetched, and they were all fakes and that. And over a course of a few emails, we started becoming friends, and I met him in Rennes, and we just hit it off. We just gelled, and we became friends. And I said, I'm looking for this cave and that in there, another cave, another tomb. So they'd come up into the mountains with me, and they'd done a bit of caving, and they would help me search these caves and that. And that was their part in it. They had no part in any of the hoax or anything of the bottles or the tomb.
Wow. So if he didn't know about it, then he obviously knows about it now.
Yes, yeah.
So what was...
I let him know at the same time.
What was his reaction?
He was very upset, very, very upset, understandably. But he has forgiven me and said, he'll remain friends and everything. He's a very good friend, is Pat. He was shocked, like everyone else. I think he was shocked. But like me, he said, "Well, we need to find the real thing now. We need to find it more than ever, and so we won't stop searching."
So
that's what we will do.
He's still speaking to you then?
Yeah.
That's weird. I guess. I mean, I would have thought there would have been some lag time there.
Oh, he's just a very good friend. He likes me. We get on well together. And I mean, I was shocked. I thought that would be the end. Because we spent so many times together, and he's always asked, take me to the location, and I'd take him near to it, and I say, "Look, there it is. It's in there. There's somewhere," and things like that. But obviously, I couldn't show him the location because there was no location. It was all made up.
Yeah, even now, someone is asking if the Vatican got to you.
No, they didn't. No one got to me.
Yeah.
Just my conscience.
Right. So when was it exactly that Pat and the other cavers, the other German cavers, when was it that they actually found out about this?
Same time everyone else. Same day.
Now, I jumped the gun on the announcement because you sent me that email and said, I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
I want to tell some of my close friends while they still are my friends, but I'll wait until you're ready to hear it. Let me know when you're ready to hear it. Well, of course, immediately I figured out what it must be pertaining to.
Yeah.
So I wrote you back and I said, I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be. And just tell me this, is it just one thing or does it pertain to everything? And then you sent me back the email that I ultimately posted. The reason I posted it on my emails because I heard that you were going to post it on the Andy Goff Arcadia forum, and which I objected to because, as I said earlier, I felt the appropriate place and the appropriate people that should release it should be part of our team. And so what I did was, because I knew that Sandy was getting ready to help you facilitate that and had indeed already gave a heads up on the forum, I immediately cut and pasted it and put it on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And immediately I started to get calls, emails, text messages, Facebook messages, and it's been nonstop since then. So someone is asking, I guess there was something on the forum about that Pat had posted, why did Pat think it was a good idea to try to get revenge against Bruce Burgess?
Because Bruce and an American investor, which he'd got money off, they'd gone out there and using the footage in the Bloodline film, had worked out which cave it was and the position in the cave, and they went there and they were digging and they were going to try and find the tomb and steal it from me because they obviously thought it was real. I don't know if Bruce had his doubts by this time, but he'd got money for going to look for it, so he had to go and look for it, and that was why. Because he tried to screw me because Pat thought the tomb was real, so he thought he'd try and screw Bruce.
And so Pat was the one that originally came up with that idea?
Yes, yeah.
And what did that, if anything, have to do with the information finally coming out?
I don't think that had a lot to do it. I mean, it was all part and parcel. It all got wrapped up together in one big parcel. You know, that was all added on. I don't know how that. Well, I know now how the information got out, but that sort of came out a little bit later. I think it was just tagged on the end of it, and it was a good. Because Andy used it as his heading. You know, I mean, was a good heading mentioning the Ark. You know, so. That was it.
Now, someone calling themselves Gravel on the chat room says, "Will Ben provide proof of his trickery, or has he conveniently destroyed it all?" I know you said you destroyed the tomb items, right?
Yeah, I've still got the model stuff, the original model, not the walls, but the actual, you know, like the little body and the chests and all that. I've still got all them.
So those are all tiny?
Yeah. Yeah, they're small.
Oh, yeah, and so I guess the marble plinth must have been small. Like, how big?
Well, obviously there was two. There was the full-size model and the tiny model, the tabletop model. But it was a little 6-inch skeleton I used for the small model. So if you've got a 6-inch skeleton, maybe it might have been 5 inches, but around that size. So you're talking about a 6-inch plinth in the model. But it was full size in the large scale model, the full set.
So why did you have the tiny model and then the big model?
Because Bruce wanted to look under the shroud, and there's no way I could, because I knew I'd have to put stuff down there, and it would show on camera like you saw the knife in the full set, didn't you? When I cut the shroud, there's no way I could use a tiny little Stanley knife and all that.
Right.
And you'd got me that remote cam, hadn't you? So
yeah.
I had to make sure it looked right on film. You know, and
okay.
That's why I made the full set.
So, in other words, the tiny model was made, and then the larger model was made after we bought the clamshell recorder and rigged.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, that would have seemed like it would have taken a long time to do all that.
Took a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Of a lot of work, a lot of hours.
And how did you get that book to look in that condition? What did you do? I mean, that really looked like an rotted old book.
I just made it. It's a wooden frame, and then I just covered it in plaster and just sculpted the plaster, and then stuck some bits of leather off an old leather book onto it.
So it's really not a book at all?
No.
Oh, I thought maybe you'd managed to,
it wasn't
somehow
a book,
age
just a
the
prop.
book or something like that. Wow.
No.
And someone says, have you to post a picture on your Facebook page holding the tiny tomb?
Yeah, well, I haven't. I'm travelling at the moment, so that's why I haven't posted anything on my website yet, because I can't access my website till I get back, because I've got to post the confession on my website as well. But I'm travelling, and I haven't got access to the model, but maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I'll do the article after all on my website and finish it off and post it. It might be a bit I don't know if I'd do a picture of me holding it, though. It might be a bit in people's faces doing it. But I will certainly post pictures of everything, just to prove that I did do it.
Right. Someone is mentioning the fact that they said Bill Kersey certified the discoveries were genuine. But I think, probably Bill Kersey just believed you.
Yes, he did believe me, yeah.
I mean, I have to admit that, in any earlier doubts I might have had, it was Bill Kersey that I actually doubted and thought maybe he had done something to help you set it up. But then I subsequently realized that you had never even met Bill Kersey until after the first bottle note was found.
That's right. I didn't even know he existed when the first bottle note was found. No, yeah.
Yeah. Christy wants to know, why did you do it?
I've been asking myself. I knew this question was going to come up, and I've been trying to think why I did it, and I just haven't come up with. I just don't know why I did it. I obviously didn't think it was going to go escalate like it has and ended up like it did. I never imagined I'd be involved in a film or anything. And I think maybe I enjoyed my little 5 minutes of fame, and I'm meeting people and that, because I love meeting people, and I made so many friends and all that, and I thought, oh, well, if I keep it going, I'm going to make more friends, meet more people, and I think maybe that was a part, but that's not a reason why I did it. That's the reason why I carried it on. But why I did it in the first place, it was just an idea I had while I was at home, working on my stop motion film. I thought, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Duze won't put pictures of his up. I'll have a video of it, I don't know why. I don't know why I did it. I don't know what the reason was.
And last question. We're down to the wire here. You say someone wants to know, why should we believe anything that you say now?
Well, I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie again. That's all I can say. I'm done with lies. This is it. It's the truth from now on.
How do you, how do you plan to sort of rehabilitate your image?
I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to see what happens. I don't know it's still sinking in. I think that it's all out there with me. I'm still trying to work out what the next step is and all that. I'm still going to Ren. And look, I'll continue doing that, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know.
What if you find
what shit's
something
coming my way?
What if you do find something? No one's ever going to believe it. No one's ever going to, everybody's going to think it's paper mache or whatever.
Yes, I know. Yeah, boy that cried wolf. That's what it'll be.
Absolutely. Now, someone on the website is saying the confession is what is the hoax.
The confession is the hoax.
Right.
Well, it's not. It's true. True. That's the only true bit about this is the confession.
Uh-oh. Last question. Are you going to drop the Ben Hammott pseudonym?
No.
All right, Ben Hammott. Thanks so much for agreeing to come on and answer some questions. I have so many more. Maybe I might have to get you to come back.
Okay. Thanks, Renee.
Thanks for your courage.
Goodbye.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good
there
night.
you have it. Ooh, there's so much more to this story. It's all coming out.
Hello?